The Department of the Interior and Local Government, Central Luzon, presents this series of instructional videos as part of the formulation and updating of LGU Comprehensive Development Plans.
In this step, we will scope the potential impacts of disasters and climate change. There are two major outputs that we must accomplish in this step. Number one is the summary of potential climate change impacts and potentially exposed units. And second is the impact chain diagrams. The process involved are identify the various climate stimulus, prepare sectoral impact chain diagrams, and summarize findings. There are four major climate variables or stimulus that triggers or affects natural hazards: sea level rise, temperature, rainfall, and extreme daily events such as hot days, dry days, or drought, and extreme heavy rainfall. Through a workshop or consultation with key stakeholders, identify which among these climate stimuli can have significant effect in the locality. You may refer to the climate change information in step 1 for guidance. Depending on the physical characteristics of the locality or study area, you may group the workshop participants according to ecosystems, such as coastal, urban, riverine, lowland agriculture, and upland forests to obtain a more accurate picture of the climate change impacts on different parts of the locality. A second option is to group the workshop participants according to exposure elements, like population, urban use, natural resource-based production areas, critical point facilities, and lifeline utilities. These terms will be further explained in step 3. A third option is to simply group the participants according to climate variables that exist in the locality. The basic method in formulating a climate change impact chain diagram is to first identify the climate stimulus, then single out the primary impact or direct impact, then distinguish the secondary and tertiary impacts. It is like tracing the chronological effect of a particular climate variable to the community. For example, if the climate variable is increase in extreme daily rainfall, the primary impact will most likely be frequent flooding. Then the secondary impacts are coastal flooding and erosion, which could cause degradation of shoreline features and derailment of businesses and activities along the beach. We also have spread of diseases, which may result to increased morbidity, especially among minors, as well as increased demand for medical assistance. Then, loss of crops, livelihood, and aquaculture, bringing about loss of income for farmers and fisher folks, and shortage of locally produced food supply. Another is pollution of water resources, giving rise to more households without access to safe water and higher cost of water treatment. Then lastly, forest soil erosion, leading to destruction of agroforestry area and landslide affecting the lowlands. In the case of drought, the primary impact is increase in days without rainfall, which leads us to secondary impacts such as ocean warming or marine heat wave, bringing about change in water species distribution and extinction of some aquatic species. Another is increase in malnutrition, diseases, and mental stress. which may result to impaired labor force due to sickness and increased illness among children. Next, we have water surface obstacle for agriculture, which could cause higher prices of some agricultural commodities and increase in water consumption for agricultural industry. Then, there is reduced water availability, leading to decrease in groundwater source and hydropower generation being altered. Finally, increased susceptibility to forest insect pests and disease, giving rise to decrease in forest productivity and loss of income for indigenous people and upland farmers. Please take note that you can come up with more specific answers, which include affected areas, people, buildings, facilities, roads, basic services, and systems. It is all up to you. Another way of presenting the impact chain diagram is by including more than one climate stimulus, which would trigger more than one hazard affecting multiple sectors. This is quite complicated, but the advantage is you can see the interrelation of different climate factors in the study area in just one diagram. After completing and refining the climate change impact chain diagrams, you may summarize them in a matrix like the one on screen. Here we can see the effect of each climate variable on each exposure element, namely population, natural resource-based production areas, critical point facilities, urban use areas, and infrastructure and utilities, or otherwise known as the lifeline utilities. We also included in the last column the potential impact areas, or how many barangays are affected. This sums up step number 2.